Hey, my name is Scott. If this is your first time to the channel, I am a type 1 diabetic. I'm also a practicing physician assistant working in endocrinology. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, if you're interested in diabetes related news, different product reviews, go ahead and subscribe. I'm going to be coming out with new content all of the time. So what we're going to be talking about today is how you can make your existing insulin work faster. I'm sure all of us know that use insulin on a day-to-day basis. No, it works great, but it is not fast. Even some of the new ultra-fast acting insulins like Fiasp and Lumjev that do work a bit faster still don't work fast enough. When your blood sugar is 200 and you want to get it down fast, they just don't have that speed. So there is a few ways that have been proven that can actually increase the speed of your existing insulin. No matter what you use, Novolog, Humalog, there's a few ways that you can actually make them work a bit faster, which is extremely important, especially when your blood sugar is running high and you want to get it down fast. So the first method, and probably the easiest one, is just to apply a local source of heat to the area you're about to inject into. So this can be a heating pad, this can be massaging the skin where you're going to inject. You can also do this in a way of maybe taking a hot shower, getting into a sauna before you do an injection. And the reason these methods work is because anytime you heat up an area, if you rub the area and make it warm, if you put a heating pad, if you get into a hot shower, anytime your body heats up, whether it's locally or the whole body, your body actually, the vessels in the area vasodilate. So your blood vessels open up. And they do this to dissipate heat. But what that does when you inject into that area where the vessels are opened up, those wide open vessels are more receptive to taking insulin. Think about it. The smaller a vessel is, the less insulin it can take up, the longer it's going to take to absorb that insulin in the area. If you have the vessels that are vasodilated, wide open, they can take up a larger volume of insulin faster. So all you need to do, take a heating pad, apply it to the area before you inject. You can kind of rub the skin for a little while until it starts to get warm. You can take a hot shower, you can get into a sauna, whatever is easy for you, and you're desperate, you want your insulin to work faster, heat up that area of injection to make it work a little bit faster. Now, there's been multiple studies that have looked into this over the years, multiple studies that have proven that there is benefit to local heat to the area of injection to increase the speed of insulin absorption. The most recent study from 2012 was a study where they had a heating patch that they applied around the area of an insulin pump. So you had an insulin infusion site and they applied a local heating device that would automatically start to heat up the area for up to 30 minutes after a bolus was given. And if we look at the results of the study, you can see here from the time of bolus, the highlighted area is where they used the Insulin patch, which was the local heating device. Again, this is just a small heating device that was applied over the area where the insulin was given. And you can see the difference in the peak, how quickly the insulin concentration peaked when they used the Insulin patch compared to just regular insulin administration. You can see the difference. I mean, the peak is pretty substantial. It worked much faster. So the study did show that there is definite benefit to applying local heat to an area to increase how fast your insulin works and increase how fast your insulin gets absorbed. So that's the first way, and honestly that's probably one of the easiest methods to increase the speed of how fast your insulin is going to work. The second way is by exercising the underlying muscle. So whether this is doing leg presses and then injecting into your legs, kind of working out your triceps and then injecting into the back of the arm, basically any time you're working out the underlying muscle, that's going to make the insulin work faster. Now, there's a couple reasons why this happens. The first one is for the same reason we just went over. Local heating to the area, vasodilation. What happens when you work out a muscle, when you work out a certain area of the body, you have increased blood flow to that area. The vessels are going to dilate, the insulin's going to get absorbed faster. So it's simply the same reason we just went over. But then the second thing that happens when you exercise, and this doesn't have to be locally to just an area where you're working out, this can be a whole systemic effect if you're doing cardio, working out the whole body, is when you work out, anytime you tax your muscles are exhausted and you've kind of worked out your muscles really hard, is they become more insulin sensitive and less insulin resistant. So the same amount of insulin that you would normally use is actually going to work more efficiently, and oftentimes you won't have to use as much insulin. The same amount of insulin is actually going to work better. So not only is it going to work faster when you exercise an area, it's also going to work more efficiently, and you actually need less insulin generally when you are exercising and working out your muscles. Exercise has a ton of benefits beyond that too, not only just for diabetes, but for a number of reasons. But that's a couple of the reasons why insulin works faster when you're working out the underlying muscle. And that's the second one, so that's a big one there, working out the underlying muscle to make it work faster and better. And then the third one, this is probably of all of them the easiest one, and it's really just where you're injecting your insulin. So insulin injection site. Now there's different areas of the body you can inject to, the legs, the abdomen, the back of the arms. There's a bunch of different areas you can inject to, but where in the body will insulin get absorbed the fastest? So without a doubt, the area in the body that has the best absorption, the fastest absorption rate of insulin is going to be the abdomen. And I'm sure a lot of us already inject into the abdomen a lot. It's just a lot of surface area. It normally hurts less than some of the other areas. But in the abdomen, injecting into the abdomen actually has the fastest absorption rate of insulin than anywhere else in the body. So you inject into your abdomen, it's going to work significantly faster than injecting into the back of the arms, the legs, etc. Generally, the way it goes is the abdomen has the best absorption rate, the fastest absorption. Next would be the upper arms. This is kind of debatable. And then a lot of times it's the lower legs, the buttocks. Basically, undisputed, the abdomen is the fastest absorption rate, and then it's kind of like a close second and third with the upper arms and the legs. What I tend to do is I inject my basal insulin, my long-acting, my Tresiba, into my legs because I want an area that doesn't necessarily get absorbed fast. With long-acting insulin, you want slow absorption rate, and I find injecting into my legs works well for that given reason. But if I want my insulin to work fast, I want it to work really fast, I always inject into my abdomen because that has the fastest absorption rate of anywhere else in the body. Now, if you want to take this even a little bit further and find a specific area of the abdomen of the fastest absorption rate, there was a study done that found injecting into the upper abdomen, the epigastric area we call it, which is like a couple inches above the umbilicus, above the belly button, they actually found that injecting above the belly button had a significantly improved absorption rate. It actually, insulin got absorbed faster in the upper abdomen, the epigastric area, rather than below the belly button, below the umbilicus. So again, if you want the insulin to work the absolute fastest above the belly button, from what this study showed, that insulin was fastest above the belly button compared to injecting below the belly button, which is probably the area where most of us inject anyways, is below the belly button. But if you inject actually above, they found faster absorption of insulin. So that was just another interesting study. So if you by far want your insulin to get absorbed the absolute fastest, your blood sugar is running high, you're desperate, you'll do anything. What you're going to do is you're going to go do some crunches, work out your abdomen. You're going to apply a heating pad to your belly, and then you're going to inject above the belly button. If you want the absolute fastest absorption, that is how you're going to do it. Because again, the fastest area is going to be the abdomen, specifically the upper abdomen above the belly button. You want to locally heat up that area, and you want to work out the underlying area. So again, go do some crunches, put a heating pad over the belly, and then inject above your belly button. You'll get the fastest absorption rate of all of the ways you can inject your insulin. Now, those are the three main ways you can improve absorption of insulin. There's some kind of off-label uses that I'm not necessarily going to recommend, but there is benefit to actually, we normally inject into the subcutaneous tissue, into the fatty layer, but if you inject intramuscularly, if you inject into a muscle, you'll actually find the rate of absorption, how fast insulin works, is significantly faster. But a lot of problems come with intramuscular injection. It hurts more. You have a higher rate of infection. So generally, I don't recommend that. But if you are ever desperate, there are some studies that show that intramuscular injection by far works much faster. Again, I'm not suggesting that. I'm just giving you a little bit of extra knowledge about how, different ways to make your insulin work faster. So again, top 3 ways to make your insulin work faster. You can apply a local heating source. It doesn't have to be local. It can also be something that heats up the whole body, a hot shower, sauna, or just applying a heating pad before you go ahead and inject into that area. The second would be to work out the underlying muscle or just work out overall the whole body. And then the third way would be to inject into the abdomen, which has the fastest absorption rate, the fastest of all of the areas of the body. So those are 3 quick ways you can improve the speed of your insulin absorption. If you have any other ways that you use, or maybe something that I'm missing here that you found really helps, please let me know in the comments. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, please go ahead and do. I appreciate you watching the video, and thank you so much.